Welcome to the Vedanta Society of Providence Sunday service. We'll start with the opening prayer. You can see it up there and join in if you like. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord who is the origin of the universe. Lord, thou abidest in all, thou art all, thou assumest all forms. Thou art the origin and goal of all. Thou art the self of all. Thou art existence, knowledge, and bliss. Salutations unto thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. So tonight we have a guest speaker, Swami Yogatmanandaji's in Louisiana. And tonight Rajeswari Balasubramaniam is going to speak. And she's originally from Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. She moved to the U.S. for her graduate studies at the University of Michigan in remote sensing. It is during this time she had the opportunity to interact with and learn from her guru, Swami Sarvadevanandaji, the resident minister of the Vedanta Society of Southern California. Her interest in Vedanta has been growing since then. Currently, she is staying at the Vedanta Society of Providence, and she learns under the kind guidance and care of Swami Yogatmanandaji. She will speak tonight on the life and teachings of Sri Akka Mahadevi, a Shaivite saint.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwarah, Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Jananim Sharadam Devim, Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum, Padapadme Tayo Shritva, Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Om Sadhyo Jatam Prapadhyami Sadhyo Jataya Vai Namo Namaha Bhave Bhave Nati Bhave Bhavasvamam Bhavodbhavaya Namaha Vamadevaya Namo Jyeshthaya Namah Shreshthaya Namo Rudraya Namah Kalaya Namah Kalavikarnaya Namo Balavikarnaya Namo Balaya Namo Balappramathanaya Namas Sarvabhutadamanaya Namo Manonmanaya Namaha Aghorebhyo taghorebhyo ghora ghoratarebhyah Sarvebhyah sarvasharvebhyo namaste astu rudrarupebhyah Tatpurushaya vidmahe mahadevaya dhimahi Tanno rudrah prachodayat Ishanas sarva vidyanam Ishwaras sarva bhutanam Brahmadhipatir Brahmanodhipatir Brahma Shivo me astu sada Shivo. Dear friends, welcome to this Sunday evening's discussion on the life and teachings of Sri Akka Mahadevi, 12th century Shaivite mystic saint. In a few days, we will be having Mahashivaratri. So we will use this opportunity to study the life of this wonderful saint. Before we get into her life, we need to understand the importance of studying the life of saints. Being spiritual aspirants, and especially belonging to this Ramakrishna tradition, we have been emphasized again and again that the goal of life is God realization. And I once got a chance to ask a very dear and revered teacher of mine what this God realization means. And he gave a very beautiful answer. And I would like all of you also to listen to that answer from his own mouth. So here is a recording that Jitendra will play of his answer to what it means by God realization.
To know what, to get an idea of what God realization means, you have to see the lives of those who have realized God. Even those who have realized God, if you ask them what you feel, they won't be able to explain the experience they are feeling inside. See, Ramakrishna used to go into Samadhi every day, all the time. And people asked him, what do you feel? What do you feel when you are in Samadhi? It's not possible to explain. He would hold his hand like this at his throat and say, Divine Mother cannot don't allow me to say more. Because it is an intense experience, inward experience. Even ordinary day-to-day experiences we cannot explain in words. For example, I often give the example in classes. Our own personal experience we can't explain in words. Supposing there is a young mother who has given birth to her first child, first baby, just now, and she is holding her newborn baby close to her chest like this, and she is feeling intense joy. If you ask her, how do you feel? People will always put, how do you feel? They will ask, what can she say? How can she explain the joy of holding a baby in her bosom? It's intensely personal experience. You can't put it in words. Even ordinary experiences like tasting a jackfruit or coffee for the person who does not know what jackfruit is. Nowadays it's available everywhere. But earlier, in American markets, you don't get didn't get jackfruit. If you tell an American person, jackfruit is very tasty. He says, how does it taste? How can I explain jack? I've tasted jackfruit many times. How can I explain? In put in words, I can say sweet. Is it sweet like apple? No, no, no. Is it sweet like pear? No, no, no. Is it sweet like what? How can I explain? Best way for him to know how jackfruit tastes is to bring jackfruit and give it to him. Let him taste, and then he, oh, now we know jackfruit. This has to be known from experience. Anubhavaika Vedyam, not put in words, even by those who have this experience. But we have to have some idea what we are striving for. In order to do that, my opinion is we should look to the life, study the life of those people who have had God realization and how they behaved, how they appeared, how they reacted to situations, how they lived. If we look at that, then we get some idea.
Thank you. So what is God realization? What do we mean by God realization? We cannot express it in words. Even a God realized person cannot express it. Only a person can experience it. But setting it as a goal of life, we need to have some idea about it. And the only way that we can have an idea of what our goal of life is to read the life of those who have realized God. To see how they lived this life, to see how they faced all the situations and what God meant to them. So it is for this reason that this is the only way that we know the goal of our life. And for this reason, it's very important that we read with reverence and try to imagine what God was to such saints. And in today's discussion, we have an opportunity to study with reverence this very wonderful saint, Sri Akka Mahadevi. She was from the 12th century, a mystic Shaivite saint. So she was born in the tradition called the Veera Shaivism. So in India, we need to understand what Shaivism is first. So in the school of Shaivism, it is believed that the unmanifested supreme, which the Vedanta calls as the Brahman, when it first manifested, it manifested as Lord Shiva with 5 faces. He is called the Panchanana Shiva, the Lord Shiva with 5 faces. And it is this first manifestation of that unmanifest that uttered the Vedas and the Agamas. And the Vedas form the foundation for the Vedic religion. Similarly, these Agamas form the foundation for Shaivism. The word Agama means to be handed down. It is believed that this knowledge was handed down by Lord Shiva himself to Lord Devi Parvati, from Devi Parvati to Lord Nandi, from Lord Nandi to Brahma, and from Brahma to the Rishis, and from the Rishis to us human beings. So this picture that you see here is the Panchanana Shiva, or the 5-faced Shiva. And the invocation that we started this talk with is the worship of each of those 5 faces. The number 5 is a special number that is associated with Lord Shiva. The Shiva mantra, which is the Panchakshari mantra, is also a 5-syllable mantra, each associating to one of these 5 faces. And those 5 faces also describe the 5 different powers of Lord Shiva, as you can see on the screen. So these agamas, there are 28 in number. And these agamas are said to come out of the 5 mouths of Shivas. There are 4 faces facing the 4 directions, and the 5th upward facing face. So each direction facing face had 5 agamas coming out, and the upward facing had 8 agamas coming out from it, in total of 28 agamas, which form the foundational scriptures for Shaivism. And so Veera Shaivism is a special school of Shaivism. In Shaivism, there are 8 major schools. They are the Pashupata Shaiva school, the Lakulisha Pashupata school, the Nandikeshwara Shaiva school, the Shaiva Siddhanta, the Veera Shaiva school, Raseshwara Shaiva school, the Advaita school of Kashmir, and the Shaiva school propagated by Sri Kantha of Kashmir. And Veera Shaivism, being one of the sects of one of the schools of thought, is also founded on agamas, but it can be considered as a rebel sect. So we will see why. So if you look at the origin of Veera Shaivism, it is believed that in every yuga, from those 5 mouths of Shiva, 5 acharyas come out, and each acharya has established a mutt in 5 different locations in India, and they propagate the knowledge of this Veera Shaivism. The philosophy of Veera Shaivism is the Veera Shaiva Siddhanta, and these 5 acharyas, they continue, these 5 mutts founded by the Lord Shiva himself, exist even today, and the chain of pontiffs continue in an unbroken form and teach the message of Veera Shaivism. This religion has been predominantly being practiced in the region of Karnataka, and it was specially revived in the 12th century by a very famous mystic as well as a social reformer by the name Sri Basaveshwara or Basavanna. And Sri Basaveshwara is considered as an incarnation of Nandi, the vehicle of Lord Shiva, who came into the world to save Shiva's devotees who were subject to much persecution. So what did he save? We need to look at how the 12th century was. In the 12th centuries, the different dynasties that ruled the region, the Chalukyas, the Kalachuryas, the Hoysalas, they ruled the different parts of the land and were constantly at war with each other. To make matters worse, there were invasions from the Muslim sultanates from the north, massacres during the war, looting and arson, the weight of heavy taxation, all these added to the burden of the common man. Though Bhakti movements attempted to make caste exploitation less severe, they gave rise to bloody conflicts between the Shaivas, the Vaishnavas, the Jainas, and the Muslims. So, on the whole, it was a period of endless conflicts. And it was around this time the Bhakti movement of Veerashaivism found an upheaval due to the efforts of Sri Basaveshwara. If you look at the philosophy of Veerashaivism, like Buddhism and Jainism, they broke away from the Vedic religion. They denounced the idea of the existence of one supreme reality, the Brahman. But Veerashaivism can be considered as an internal rebel. It accepted the philosophical contents of the Vedas but denounced the ritualistic portions. Veerashaivism disapproves vehemently image worship as strongly as possible and maintains that supreme is to be worshipped in one's own Ishta Linga, the linga obtained from the Guru at the time of initiation. It looks with disfavor even upon the worship of linga consecrated in temples. So they have no rituals, they have no temples, but they accept the philosophy of the Vedic religion. So if you look at the philosophy specific to Veerashaivism, the Veerashaiva Siddhanta believes in the identity of the soul with the Supreme who is the only entity and the reality and who, assuming existence first, becomes the material and the efficient cause of all of creation. Like Advaita Vedanta, it traces the origin of creation to avidya or maya, or the Shakti of Shiva. Though Advaita Vedanta considers maya as an illusion, Veerashaivism looks at the Shakti of Shiva, the maya, as an illusion but real, as it came from the real Supreme God. But it holds that the Maya is real at the beginning of the soul's spiritual journey and unreal in the end. It believes that proper observance of prescribed duties purifies the soul. It elevates it step by step, during the course of which the soul, gaining knowledge, is automatically freed from avidya, on the complete removal of which it becomes united with Shiva. This is called mukti. The union consists in becoming entirely one without any distinction or separate existence, unlike in the other schools of Shaivism like Shaiva Siddhanta, which is prevalent in Tamil Nadu region, where there is the idea of inseparable union, but there is a distinction. So the Veerashaivites worship Shiva as that unmanifest supreme consciousness which is all pervading and also immanent in all beings as consciousness. And the most important tradition, because Veerashaivism doesn't have any rituals, the only ritual, the most important for them, is the process of spiritual initiation. So during the process of initiation, it is believed that the Guru condenses, as it were, the Chaitanya is the consciousness of the spiritual aspirant. He condenses it, as it were, and gives it to the student in the form of a Shiva Linga for him to worship. So this is the only object of worship for a Veerashaivite. And the other important things of Veerashaivism is the 8 emblems or the Ashtavarnas, which a Veerashaivite reveres and adores. The 8 emblems are the Guru. The Guru is revered more than Shiva because it is he who leads the soul to Shiva. The second is the Linga. The Linga is the one that the Guru gives to the student at the time of initiation, and the student wears it always on his body and worships it throughout his life. The Jangamma is also is a wandering mendicant who preaches the philosophy of linga, religion and morality to everyone. The Padodaka, the holy water from washing the feet of the Guru. the prasada or any object given by the guru to the student, the vibhuti or the sacred ash, because Shiva is described in the Puranas as very fond of besmearing himself with the sacred ash, the rudraksha or the sacred seeds which the Shaivites wear on themselves, and the mantra, the Panchakshari Shiva mantra. The Veera Shaivites do not accept any other mantra other than the Shiva mantra. So after initiation, the Ishtalinga is always worn by the disciple on his body for life and becomes his only object of worship. They do not worship any other images or have any elaborate rituals. So the other important concept of Veerashaivism is the Shat Sthala, or the 6 stages of a spiritual aspirant's mind or a spiritual journey of a soul. So these 6 levels of mind is concisely provided in this poem. It says the individual becomes bhakta, the first stage, by virtue of his belief in God. Maheshwara, when the belief matures into unflinching faith. Prasadi, if he remains vigilant therein. Pranalingi, when he gains enlightened self-experience. Sharana, on the strength of sustained awareness thereof. And Aikya, when he attains the final beatitude arising out of the union of awareness with the Absolute. So these are the 6 stages in the Veerashaivite philosophy for a soul's journey to pass from being a separate to the union with Shiva. So with this background, let us get into the life of Sri Akka Mahadevi. In Shivamoga in 1130 AD, in a very small village in the dense rainforest, was a very devout couple who belonged to this Veerashaivite tradition. And after many years of marriage, they had this girl child, and they considered her as a blessing of Lord Shiva himself and named her Mahadevi. And Mahadevi, being born in a very devout family, was naturally inclined towards devotion to God. And at a very young age, she received this Linga Diksha from her Guru Linga Deva. And since then, her love and devotion to Lord Shiva increased. And as a child, she used to look at him as her playmate. And as she grew up, when other girls, her friends of her age, would dream of marrying a very handsome and valiant husband, she would imagine the same Lord Shiva as her own husband. And Lord Shiva, specifically the form of Lord Shiva that appealed to her, is by the name Chenna Mallikarjuna. So all her poems, if you see, she will have the signature of Chenna Mallikarjuna written at the end of it. So she worshipped Lord Shiva from a very young age, and considered him as her beloved, and in her mind she wedded with him as well. But things didn't go smoothly for her. So when she was about the age of 15 and was playing with her friends in her village, the local king of that place, he passed through the region and found this very beautiful girl and immediately wanted to marry her. So he sent his group of ministers to mediate marriage to her house. And he was a Jain king, and these people were from the Veerashaivite tradition. The parents knew that this child was very devout to Lord Shiva and considered him as her husband. But so they were against this marriage proposal. The parents supported the child and were against this marriage proposal. But the king was a tyrant. So he threatened that he would imprison them and give them more difficulty if they wouldn't listen to him. So, out of compulsion and for the sake of her parents, she decided to to agree for the marriage on the basis of 3 promises that he took from him. The first promise was, I shall spend time meditating on the Lord as I please. You cannot stop me. I shall spend time in the company of devotees as I please, and I shall spend my time attending to the service of my Guru as I please. The king agreed to this, not seriously. He thought, okay, I will eventually tame her to my ways. But after marriage, all these 3 promises were soon broken by the king. And so the first promise was, when she was meditating, it is said, so the hagiographers, they have different variations of this story. So the most popular version is that when she was meditating, he approached her lustfully to embrace her. So that broke the first promise. The second promise was broken when he did not inform her about a visiting group of mendicants. So the second promise was broken. And the third and the important promise was, I shall spend my time attending to the service of my Guru. So when her Guru came to the palace one day, she ran to serve him, and this king objected her from going. And at that very moment, she walked off, saying, this is it, I don't want to continue this life anymore, as it is an obstruction to my path of devotion. So, because all those things that she was wearing, her dress, her clothes, her ornaments, all belonged to the king Kaushika, she dropped them all in the palace and walked as a naked ascetic. When she came, the Guru saw her, and he had this compassionate glance on her, and immediately her hair grew into long tresses that covered her. And she walked away from all her riches and the kingly life that she had until then. And because when once the desire to attain God grows in a person, the first stage is to meet all his devotees. So she had this intense desire to meet all these Sharanas. So all these Veerashaivas who have dedicated their life in the path of God realization, they are called the Sharanas in the tradition. So she had this intense desire to meet the devotees of the Lord, the Sharanas, and the most conducive place to meet many of them was the city of Kalyana. So at the same time, in the city of Kalyana, which is around 350 to 400 kilometers from her place, was the Sri Basaveshwara, whom we saw before. He was a finance minister of the kingdom of the king who was ruling the place. And he also being a Sharana, he wanted to create this place that is ambient for people to, all the Sharanas to come together and discuss various philosophical ideas. So it was in this city called Kalyana. So she decided to walk and go to this city to meet all these Sharanas. So imagine at that age, at that time, in the 12th century, through the dense rainforest and naked and as a woman, but being a devotee of God, she had no problems going through this difficult journey. So she writes in one of her poems. The poems are called Vachanas. These are free verse poems in very simple language that anybody can understand. So in one of her poems, she says, if the cloth that covers them slips, men and women become shy. If you, Lord of life, envelop the whole world, what is there to be shy of? So leaving her village Uduttadi, Akka Mahadevi started towards Kalyana, braving both the arduous terrain and weather, and she finally reached this city. And in this city, Sri Basaveshwara had built this place called the Anubhava Mantapa. Anubhava Mantapa literally means the hall of experience. So here, all the Sharanas came together, and the president of this place was a very great yogi called Allama Prabhudeva, a great yogi of extraordinary achievement, and the prime minister of this place was Lord Basava. So the Anubhava Mantapa is the first parliament in the history of mankind. It was a spiritual parliament. So the president was Allama Prabhudeva, and the prime minister of this place was Lord Basava. And other Sharanas like Chenna Basava was compared to be the speaker, while he was also the editor and compiler of the Vachana literature. The only difference between the present day parliament and the Anubhava Mantapa is that the members were not elected by the people, but were picked up or nominated by the higher authorities of the Mantapa. The necessary qualification to be taken into this hall of experience is their spiritual attainment. So the higher authority here is Allama Prabhu in this period of time. And all those Sharanas, they came together, and the problems tackled were of various natures, covering social, religious, spiritual, yogic, economic, literary spheres. The members of the Mantapa and the followers of the religion were given full freedom of thought, speech, and action. They were allowed to put any questions or doubts and get them cleared in front of the congregation, and a systematic program was launched to record and preserve the dialogues that were going on in the house. This formed the huge literature that the Veerashaivites follow even today. So as Akka Mahadevi reached Kalyana, she was met with severe questions. So Allama Prabhu was the head at that time, and Allama Prabhu put her to severe test. His first question was about her husband. No woman was to be admitted to the spiritual academy unless she was duly married. So Akka Mahadevi's reply was Chenna Mallikarjuna was her husband. So here is a conversation. So the Prabhudeva asked, "Why have you come here in the prime of your youth? Our saints resent the sight of a woman. If you can disclose the identity of your husband, you can join the fellowship of our saints, or else you can depart. A woman's company is like poison. Tell us who your husband is." And Mahadevi says, in the form of poem, "I was engrossed in penance for many years so that God might become my wedded Lord. My own people wedded me to God by smearing my body with ashes and tying the marital bracelet to my wrist. The entire world knows that the innumerable saints have been my parents. Therefore, O Prabhu, God is my Lord for me, and there are no other husbands in this world." But Allama Prabhu was not satisfied with that reply, so he put her into another question in the form of a poem again. "What does it mean that God loves you and you love God? Shedding your garment when your spirit is pure? Why do you cloak yourself in hair? This shame that lurks within your heart, thus shows outside. It will not please Guheshwara." So he criticizes her. Okay, so you have dropped your garment in the name of the Lord. At the same time, you are hiding yourself within your tresses. So to this question, Akka the Mahadevi replied, "Unless the fruit becomes ripe within, the outer skin will not lose its luster. With the intent lest the sight of the seal of Cupid should hurt you, that I covered up. Why should it hurt you? Pray not trouble me who have submitted myself to Chenna Mallikarjuna, the god of gods." So thus the arguments and counter-arguments occupied the major portion of discourse at the Anubhava Mantapa. At last, Allama Prabhu was convinced that she had scaled to the spiritual heights impossible to attain by ordinary devotees. And all the Sharanas praised her sky high, and Akka Mahadevi there said that she was grateful to the Sharanas who subjected her to acid test, without which she would not have gained the confidence in herself. And that is when she was bestowed the highest honor title as Akka. Akka means the elder sister, who even the people like Allama Prabhu and Basavanna called her by that title because of her spiritual stature. So she came to the Anubhava Mantapa, met all the Sharanas, and her heart was fully saturated, sufficient. But still, her longing to meet her, to become one with Mallikarjuna, her beloved, was still there. So she asked Allama Prabhu how she could unite with her Lord, and Allama Prabhu guided her as follows. He said, if you can shed this twinness of you and me, and climbing the highest peak of the great mountain Trikuta, where you have become yourself, you look, an empty stretch is what you see. There in the Trikuta mountain is a plantain grove hidden from the eye. If you can enter the ambit of that plantain grove, you see the radiance of a flaming light. Thither you go, mother. In Guheshwara, the highest peak becomes your own. So Allama Prabhu asked her to go to Sri Shailam. Sri Shailam, where Chenna Mallikarjuna is one of the Jyotirlingas who resides in that place. And he said that will be the place where you will attain union with the Lord. So, having taken leave from her innumerable Sharanas at the Kalyana, Akka Mahadevi spoke of sadness of her parting from them in such heart-touching terms as, Sir, the happiness of meeting your devotees is beyond comparison. Sir, better is to die than suffer. Pangs of separation from your devotees, O Chenna Mallikarjuna, I cannot bear parting from the glorious ones whom have known the truth about you. Thus Akka Mahadevi, with her heart being heavy with deep feelings, bade goodbye to all. And she, guided by Allama Prabhu, she made her way to Mount Sri Shaila, which is again 400 kilometers from Kalyana, the city of Kalyana. It is in Andhra Pradesh. And her journey was filled with hardship, but she braved the hardships and found the mountains, caverns, forests, beasts and birds, the earth and sky filled with the divine light. So throughout the journey, her idea of what Chenna Mallikarjuna was for her, or her relationship with Chenna Mallikarjuna, kept changing. So in this poem, she says, the whole wood is but a wishing tree, and all are life-restoring trees. Every stone is an alchemic stone. Every place a holy place. All water is but unaging nectar, and every beast a man-like beast. Every stone you stumble on, a wishing stone. As I went round observing the mountain, I saw the plantain grow. When Akka Mahadevi, standing at the entrance of the plantain grove, was praising the Ishtalinga in her palm, the light of divine consciousness within her came out and stood before her in the form of a Jangamma, to whom she bowed and implored, Now make me one with thee, O Chenna Mallikarjuna. Then the Jangamma said, Come, my daughter, who have come here after shedding the world, and drew her into himself, and so did Akka Mahadevi unite with the Absolute. So the poem, when she, at this point of union, she had many poems about the union with the Lord, but one poem is, she says, I won't call it Linga, nor union with Linga. I won't call it communion, nor consubstantial union. I won't say I can do. I won't say you nor I. After having attained union with the Linga, I won't say anything, O Chenna Mallikarjuna. So, with this, she attained union with the Lord of her heart in the Sri Shailam mountains at the in the premises of the temple of Lord Chenna Mallikarjuna, and shed her physical body at the age of 30. So all this intense spiritual transformation she had within the age of 30. And during this period, she had many poems written. And all these are documented thanks to this Sharana movement, the Veerashaiva movement that happened during that place. So we will be looking at some of those nice poems, and just for our sake of understanding. So now that we saw her life, she was born perfect. She was born with the divine intoxication of the Lord. So she didn't need to climb up the 6 planes of spiritual journey that is for the other spiritual aspirants. But then why does she compose all these poems? It is for the sake of us to understand the poems from our level and see how we can grow further. So for that sake, I have selected a few poems that represent each of these 6 steps in the Shat Sthala tradition of the Veerashaivas, a Shat Sthala idea. So the first stage is Bhakta Sthala. So in this stage, the Bhakta worships the Ishtalinga with firm faith. Devotion found on faith is the characteristic of the way of spiritual life. All activities of the Bhakta are energized by love of God. All enjoyments are considered to be grace from God. All daily activities of the Bhakta's life, along with pure intention, constant self-offering, his whole self, including his body, becomes transformed into a spiritual reality. And through this practice, active life permeated with true devotion becomes truly divine. So we will see 2 poems of her which shows this idea. The first is shown on the screen. She says, the body is sanctified, taking the leftovers of Shiva's devotees. The mind is sanctified, remembering the countless elders. Their ears are sanctified, listening to their praise, and the eyes are sanctified, looking at the companions of Shiva. This sentiment gives life to me, O Father. Worshipping you with all my heart, my worldliness is destroyed, O Chenna Mallikarjuna. Here is another poem. She says, Ayya. Ayya means sir. Ayya, hear me if you will. Ignore me if you won't. But I cannot be without singing your praise. See me if you will. Ignore me if you won't. But I cannot be without seeing you and singing in joy. Accept me if you will. Ignore me if you won't. But I cannot be without embracing you. Love me if you will. Ignore me if you won't. But I cannot be without worshipping you. Chenna Mallikarjunaya, worshipping you, adoring you, I shall sway in joy. So we see this sentiment in all the saints. So Lord Chaitanya, that Abhijit will be speaking about soon, you see this idea of intense love without any expectation from God. Next is step is called the Maheshwara Sthala in the Shat Sthala. So here, the next step, the devotee who seeks perfection goes from devotion, the previous stage, to firm faith in God, and hence becomes Maheshwara. Faith is nothing but constant love for God. One loves God to the extent of firmly believing in Him and placing his entire trust in Him. He receives and accepts everything wholeheartedly, whether it is sweet or bitter, as a gift from God. The faith of Maheshwara is enlightened through the spiritual master who is the image of God. Hence the devotees listens to the word of the spiritual master as if they are words of God. So here is a poem. Here she says, I have but one body, I have but one mind. Which mind shall I use for meditating? Which mind shall I use for engaging with this world? Ayya, I'm ruined, I'm not with this world, I'm not with the other world. Like a calf trying to feed from 2 cows at once. Can anybody hold both Bilva and Belavala fruits as the same? O Chenna Mallikarjuna. So this shows the viraha, like how she is in between both the world and the transcendent, and trying to struggle and move from the one to the other. Like Sri Ramakrishna says, you can't have your leg on both the boats. So this is another poem. So here the idea is, if uh, uh, whatever God offers, whether it is sweet or bitter, you accept it as a gift from God. So here she says, if you cut, saw, and grind sandalwood, does it stop being fragrant as it is bruised? If you beat, scrape, and melt gold, does it get defiled as it is heated? If you chop sugarcane, feed it to the press, boil the juice to make sugar, does it stop being sweet as it suffered pain? If you were to unfold all the sins of my past, it will only harm you, O my father Chenna Mallikarjuna. Even if you kill me, I will not stop saying Sharana. So the third stage is the Prasadi Sthala. So seeing everything as the gift of the Lord. So in this Sthala, everything becomes God's gift to him. The soul which loves God with invincible faith becomes God's favored child. In turn, God pours onto him everlasting grace that becomes a vehicle for a devotee to understand God. This knowledge, as a result of worship of God, becomes their Shivalinga. Devotee now understand all things as God's and grows humility towards him. This is the hallmark of the spiritual person. Now the devotee has taken a new turn towards greater spirituality, leading the stage known as Prasadi. So until now, her poem showed like how she denounced the world. She wanted to get rid of the body, get rid of worldliness. Here she says, to me this body is prasad, this life is prasad, this breath is prasad, the mind is prasad, this wealth is prasad, this sentiment is prasad, this tasty food is prasad, this shared pleasure is prasad. O Chenna Mallikarjunaya, I have covered myself with your prasad all around. And not just all the nice things, she accepts everything that's painful also as prasad. In this poem she says, should fire rage all over, I will say my hunger and thirst are sated. Should the sky stare open, I would say it is a ritual bath. Should the mountains fall over, I would say it is a flower falling. Should my head roll over, I would say my life is an offering to you, O Chenna Mallikarjunaya. So the next stage is the Pranalingi Sthala. So here, slowly the devotee recognizes that God alone is the doer. He is the prana who is mediating, who is running this world. So all her actions now slowly converts into prayer. Prayer in action is the achievement of the soul in this stage. In this phase, the aspirant enters a new relationship with God. To enrich his or her spiritual growth, here the devotee realizes that all progress in the universe is due to that prime mover God alone. Such realization gives a new spiritual dimension to all her activities. So all her activities become prayer. And one steadfastly practices this sthala, one forgets one's own body and mind and begins to see and feel the inner presence of God, an inner voice, while reaching a state of self-enlightenment through personal experience. So here is a poem where she says, in faith, let my heart be with you. In admiration, let my heart be with you. In compassion, let my heart be with you. In nourishing, let my heart be with you. In surrender, let my heart be with you. In sadness, let my heart be with you. In tiredness, let my heart be with you. In longing, let my heart be with you. In suffering, let my heart be with you. Like water soaked up by the hot iron, let my 5 senses be soaked up by you, O Chenna Mallikarjuna. And here she says how she is now a puppet in the hands of the Lord. She says, Ayya, like a monkey at the end of the pole, like the puppet at the end of the thread, I have played as you played me. I have spoken as you told me. I have lived as you bid me. Until you, the maker of this machine called the world, Chenna Mallikarjuna, said enough. And the next stage is the Sharanasthala. Here, the soul acquires intimacy with God and becomes his faithful servant. Anything and everything the soul hears is the sweet voice of God. Life is no more a burden to it, but a delight. This overwhelming spiritual joy in the presence of God is considered to be the perfection that the soul attains. This is the highest perfection an individual soul can attain. This overwhelming, the Sharanasthala endows an individual with the feeling and knowledge of God's presence in his or her own soul and begins a direct dialogue with Shiva. This sublime feeling enables the seer to see Shiva within himself and in every other human being. The soul becomes filled with Shiva Jnana, Shiva Bhakti, and Shiva worship. Everything becomes Shiva Maya, filled with Shiva's presence and not Maya anymore. At this stage, one does not falter. One is self-sustained and self-aware of Shiva's grace. Here she says, when the mind has taken your form, whom shall I meditate upon? When the life breath has taken your form, whom shall I worship? When awareness has become yourself, whom shall I know? Chenna Mallikarjunaya, as you are everything and all I know is you. In this poem, she says, better than the... This is an interesting poem. When you read, you will see that better than the bliss of being in constant union is the bliss of being apart for a bit and then coming together again, my friend. If we are apart even for a few moments, I cannot bear to stay without seeing him. When will I have this bliss of being apart while being a part of my Lord Chenna Mallikarjuna? So we may think it is a one-way direction, like the soul goes higher and higher in perfection and all it wants is to merge. But at these high flights of realization, the bliss is also from the separation. There is no more fear of Maya. They see the God everywhere. So she's a part of the Lord and also wants to have this separation which gives her the bliss of union. And the final stage, here there is no more the Lord and the devotee. There is this is called the Aikya Sthala, or the dissolution of self in the Lord. The Aikya Sthala is the last and the highest stage a soul can reach. Ultimate union with the Supreme. In this stage, the mind and heart of an individual moves in consistence with those of Supreme. The soul's activities like desire, affection, and thoughts are now only echoes of God's desire, affection, and thoughts. The creator and the created, the individual and its source are in perfect mutual harmony. Now the beloved soul is merged with the master. They are not two, but one. This complete union is the achievement of the soul in this stage. Aikyasthala forms the final stage, which permits a Lingayat to fulfill his or her life's destiny. It is the culmination of this, all these stages of achievements. One is at peace from within and without. His or her soul is filled with heavenly bliss. There are no desires, no wants. There is just the Supreme Shiva beckoning the soul to come and embrace him. How can milk swallow ghee and remain separate? Who can separate fire from the sun's radiance? Chenna Mallikarjuna, great one, without bounds, seeing how you are hidden within me, not separated, I opened my eyes. On offering the body to Linga, the body was bodiless. On offering the mind to awareness, the mind was dissolved. On offering the feeling to fulfillment, the feeling was a no thing. As body, mind, and feeling ceased to be, the being turned into a non-being. As Linga ravished my body, I became a Sharana wife to Linga husband, thus melted and merged into my husband named Chenna Mallikarjuna. So let us pray to Akka Mahadevi to bestow her blessings on her, that we too shall attain the supreme height of realization. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. So if you have any questions, any questions upstairs?
Question from Beverly Collins. Namaskar. Does union with the source always culminate in the dropping of the body?
No. This is a part of the dialogue that Akka Mahadevi had with Alama Prabhu at the Anubhava Mantapa. So Alama Prabhu asks Akka Mahadevi, so you say you are in communion with God, but can you do it in the physical body? So she says yes. The body does not have to drop at the state of highest union. So she was in the state of highest union all through, but as we, for us seers, there was this individual who was walking around who played through this entire play. So it must be possible. And these are not something that we can explain or describe. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Whoa, thank you, Raji. All I can say is wow. All right, so let's see. Swami Yogatmanandaji will be back on Tuesday. We'll have the regular Tuesday evening class, as well as on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and the Friday evening class. Well, wait a minute. No, it actually won't work like that, because then he leaves for India. So check out the March schedule for all the special talks we're having while he's away. But next Sunday, he will be here giving a talk on Learn as Long as I Live. Then the Wednesday evening is going to be the Shiva Ratri with the Shiva Nam Sankirtan. So please come for that if you can. And there's going to be a lot of special talks in March while Swami Yogatmanandaji is in India. So check out the March schedule for that. You can go to our website, or if you're here in person, the calendars are in the bookstore. So we will have Arati in here. If you want to go in the shrine, please leave your shoes right where you're sitting so they don't pile up at the door. And we'll have Arati in here, and then we'll have Suit Supper. And now we'll have the closing prayer. You can all join in. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahura Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. And I forgot to mention, there are going to be morning and evening meditations, so please come for that.
Breaker of all our worldly bondage and adored by all, we adore you too. Stainless Lord of human form, stainless Lord of human form, transcendent yet filled with love. You free us from the stain of sin and ornament our world. Consciousness is your form. Your eyes always purified by knowledge. Your eyes always purified by knowledge. Looking at them, illusion is gone. Ocean of shining love and feeling, ever created in your infinite love. Your feet always dear to your devotees. Your feet always dear to your devotees. About to cross this world, revealed to us as God incarnate and the Lord of all things, helping us join with you. Your mind's always set in the divine light. Your mind's always set in the divine light. This we can see through your grace. Destroyer of worldly sorrow and compassion soul, infinite is your word. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance, saving us from darkness and fear. Renouncer of all lust and lucre, therefore you were always spurning sensual life. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. Grant to us pure love for you. You're fearless and you're free from doubting, with your mind very firmly resolved. Causeless the refuge of your devotees. Causeless the refuge of your devotees. Renouncing caste and birth. Our treasure is your holy feet, which take us very soon across this puddle of life. Even sightedness, you give love, and even sightedness to remove our anguish here. Our treasure is your holy feet, which take us very soon across this puddle of life. You give love and even sightedness. You give love and even sightedness to remove our anguish here. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's cave. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's cave. Darkness is destroyed by your light. O Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Darkness is destroyed by your light. O Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Langa Ranga Banga. These are all the sounds of Mridanga. Langa Ranga Banga. These are all the sounds of Mridanga. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Jaya Jaya for your worship divine. Hare Hare for your worship divine. Shiva Shiva for your worship divine. Breaker of all our worldly bondage, and adored by all, we adore you too. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. gracious and blessed, graciousness sublime, all noble ends you give to us, granting us refuge, all-seeing guardian, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Creation, preservation, dissolution are your powers, eternal one. Nature's real basis, nature's essence, O Mother Divine, our love to you. We come seeking refuge from anguish. Be our Savior through your deep concern. All our suffering remove, Goddess, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Victory, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Jai Shri Ram Krishna Dev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Sarda Devi Ki Jai, Jai Shri Swami Vivekanand Ki Jai, Jai Shri Buddhadev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Jesus Christ Ki Jai,